Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 70, BasketVAWLS Edition. Brought to you by the Outright Geekery Podcast Network at outrightgeekery.com. We're also currently live on YouTube, courtesy of the S&B Network. Make sure to go ahead and smash that like button and share out the link. My name is Vols JP.
And I'm Dobber. What's happening?
What's up, everybody? Our first, finally, real live edition, BasketVAWLS Edition. This basketball program, Dauber, what do you think? This basketball program, obviously, over the years, there's tradition there. I think probably what, second to Kentucky as far as SEC championships.
Yeah.
I'm 41 years old. I followed, this basketball team, pretty much all of my life now, albeit not at the level that I did football and everything. But, I can remember Dyron Nix. I can remember some of Tony White. I can remember Allen Houston, all of those guys and stuff like that. So, but what Rick Barnes has been able to do here these last couple of years has just brought, just an amazing excitement to the basketball program. And, it's just evidenced by, the way the fan base has bought in and filling up Thompson Bowling Arena. And we've got the longest consecutive winning streak at home at 28 games now and counting and stuff like that. So what do you think, Dobber, about, how long have you been following the basketball program, and, what do you think that this basketball program is capable of?
Well, I mean, just like you, I've kind of always been a Tennessee fan. Always kind of followed them. I remember more so Wade and Allen Houston, those guys. When I went to school down there, I got involved with the marketing program, and part of what I did with that was help out with promotions and stuff at basketball games. So I was doing handouts before the game, and I was actually on the court during timeouts, shooting the T-shirt cannon into the crowd and running around on the court.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really neat to kind of have a kind of behind the scenes look at some stuff, and some stuff that your average fan doesn't get to see. I had credentials and could go anywhere in the arena. Went up into the catwalks a couple times and took some pictures walking out over, looking straight down onto the court. It was pretty wild. But, when Jerry Green was there, it was very interesting. You had some good players, but they had issues on the team. They had the black curtains hanging up in the Tommy Bowl, and you could hear the coaches talking during timeouts when the team was huddled up. Then you go to Buzz Peterson. They had a little bit more talent, but couldn't finish games. And you go through
Jerry Green. We had him.
Yeah, Green, Peterson,
and then Pearl came along.
You got Pearl, and then Tyndall, or Konzo Tyndall.
Yeah.
I mean, the last couple of years, the program has sort of evolved, and Barnes has changed the culture from just a team that plays basketball to, honestly, with the stagnant state of the football program, it's really been something that Tennessee fans can be excited about, because they've not only been a competitive team, but they've been a fun team. So I was on the fence about Barnes when they first brought him in. I thought, okay, he's, a good coach, but can't get it done. He can't get past the Sweet 16. He's had all this talent at Texas. But I thought, well, he's riding the into the sunset, getting a job closer to his roots over in Hickory, and just kind of fading off. But man, everything that I've seen, his player development, the finding, I don't want to call it diamonds in the rough, but players that play with a chip on their shoulder, but also buy into his system. That's been what has been successful for him. And honestly, I'm gonna go back for another little football analogy here. I kind of relate what he has done to the basketball program to what Pruitt is starting to do, and we're starting to see with the football program. But it's just, the success that they had last year was just awesome to watch and follow along. And it helped having the talent that they had.
Oh, certainly, certainly, and that's one thing. I guess for the folks that are listening right now, and the ones that normally tune in on Wednesdays, and we're talking about football and stuff. We'd talked about Dobber and I doing a basketball show weekly, and since the football team is on bye this week, we felt like that this was a great night to start the talk about the basketball team, and just kind of lead into that. What our plans are with the weekly basketball show is once football season is over, Dauber and I are going to do a weekly show. Going to try to keep it 30 to 45 minutes. We haven't nailed down exactly what night that we're going to do the live show yet. We're kind of still working out details with that. With Dauber's kids are playing sports and stuff, and with all that. But certainly, before football season ends and we wind down the Talkin VAWLS podcast for football season, we'll certainly let you all have more details as far as what we're going to do on a weekly basis as far as following this basketball team. I guess Dauber, the thing with me this year, certainly, with the way that this basketball team lost what 4 players that were either on the NBA rosters or in the D League. I hope that this fan base, as everybody knows, as rabid as the UT fans are, that we let this basketball team grow and develop. I think that if anybody expects us to finish 31-4 or whatever it was last year, there's probably not much of a chance of that happening with what we actually lost and what we've got coming back. Obviously, players that are coming back, especially, and we'll get into the couple of games that they've already played this year, but, certainly Bowden and Turner, Fulkerson, and of course, Pons. I mean, just, crazy about the fact that, he's had 2 excellent games, starting off, but, certainly James, Josiah James, that 5-star true freshman. I think that he's been hurt. He was hurt there in preseason, so he's going to be one of those kids that is slowly going to come on. What I'm hoping for is because once you look at their non-conference schedule, leading up through the end of this year, I mean, we've got some tough games coming up, and but I hopefully and think with Barnes being able to develop the talent and stuff that by the time that the SEC or the SEC season rolls around, and then tournament time, hopefully that this team has done enough that they can get into the tournament and then just go from there. Well,
that's one thing. Barnes has never really been a slouch in his non-conference scheduling. We've got a couple games that are gonna be testers. You're talking about the guys that left. 4 or 5 starters gone.
Yeah.
You're talking about 61% of the total minutes played last year were from the guys that left, mainly Williams, Schofield, Bone, and Alexander. But we also had Derek Walker transfer, which he would have been a big help this year down low. Another big body, especially with the NCAA not allowing Euros to play. But yeah, 70% of scoring. And it just, you look at that. I mean, you're losing a big chunk of the minutes playing and a big chunk of your scoring. So what that means is guys that played last year are going to have to step up, assume those minutes, and they're also going to have to pick up the scoring end. And we've seen that a little bit in the first couple of games. I think this team is going to run through Bowden and Turner. They're going to have to be the main guys. But guys like Pons and guys like Fulkerson, really essentially role players last year, they're going to have to step up, assume big minutes, and also productivity and scoring, especially not having a true big man. We've got some lanky, tall guys, but when we get into the meat of that schedule, you're going to have some big bodies banging around under the basket down there, and we're just not built for that right now.
Now, let me jump in here right now, and we got us a super chat with Corn Dog Lover. Corn Dog Lover, what's up? $1.99 super chat. Just simply says hashtag JP2020. I appreciate that, but I would be afraid that I would get impeached. So I will not run for any kind of political office. But no, seriously, Corn Dog Lover, we appreciate it. We appreciate your support. Certainly do for sure. Looks like we got Boogie Bentley in the live chat as well. What's up, Boogie Bentley? We got him on there. But yeah, getting back to the size, that's what I'm interested in seeing, because last night, and we can jump right in and start talking about these games, but that's one thing that I think is probably going to hinder this team is length. First half last night, Murray State just killed us on the glass. I think it was I can't remember. It was like 25-12 or something like that. First half. So one thing that's going to happen is Fulkerson is going to have to play and try to stay out of foul trouble, because if he gets in trouble like he did last night and he has to sit down for 10 or 11 minutes, that's what's going to happen. I mean, and like you said, Fulkerson was a role player last year, and he's a starter this year, and he's going to have to be somebody that's going to have to be counted on, to hopefully they can get up to play 30 minutes a game or more. Yeah. And and so he's going to have to love his aggressiveness. I love how that he's always flying around and tipping the ball and diving for it and stuff like that. Don't ever stop that, certainly, but just going to have to be more aware that hey, I can't go in there and play 10 to 12 minutes a game and pick up three or four fouls like I was doing last year or whatever. I'm going to have to play 30 minutes a game and make sure that those 5 fouls count somewhere on that.
Yeah,
we got another super chat. That's just old Boogie Bentley. Boogie Bentley, $5 super chat. What's up, Boogie? Is your voice must be gone tonight? So he had to join in on the chat with us. But Boogie's got a $5 super chat. Says huge shout out to Dobber and JP for taking care of Talkin VAWLS. We appreciate it. We appreciate it for sure. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if you want to get into the 2 games that we've played this year, and the Dalai Lama's glasses hit on something I was getting into right here. We game one, UNC Asheville, a win 78-63. And then last night, game two against Murray State, a win 82-63. What I was going for is Pons. 15 points against UNC Asheville, 19 points last night. Both of those were career highs.
Mm-hmm.
Last night he came out, I think he was 3 of 4 from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
I mean, just the transition to the wing for him is I think going to be great. I look for him to kind of have a breakout season, just in terms of his production. He was one of the first guys off the bench last year, but with all those guys exiting, he's going to have a whole lot more responsibility, and we've got to have production from him. So.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, Pons is not the tallest guy, but I mean, the guy can jump out of the arena. I mean, it's just
very athletic.
Yeah, I mean, I look at him and I'm like, man, we need him on the football team rushing the quarterback. I mean, seriously though, I mean, it's just crazy. But I mean, just super athletic. But that's the thing with Pons. I mean, if he can continue to do it, and something that I read today, they were saying that Barnes was actually saying that Pons was their most consistent 3-point shooter during fall. During camp.
I saw that too.
Yeah, they said that that they were charting all of the shots, and that so I mean, his shot isn't pretty. It's kind of flat and quirky, but if he hits nothing but the net, I mean,
well, that's the thing.
So.
The first half last night, we got into a bit of a funk, and that's going to be the big thing this year. With this team, they're not built to run that flex post type offense that they ran last year. It's going to be more of a perimeter penetration and then kick it out. You've got to hit open shots.
Yeah.
If you go through a funk and a couple over trips down the court, you can see. And Murray State didn't help last night in the fact that they were hitting everything they threw up. I think they hit. What was it?
I think they had eight 3-pointers in the first half. And they cooled down for 1 or 9 in the second half. So, but now, I think that Tennessee ramped up their defense there too in the second half.
Absolutely.
I mean, Tennessee looked like a totally different basketball team from the first half to second half. I mean, first half offensively, we weren't doing anything. We were just out there just passing it around the 3-point line, and somebody was throwing up a 3-pointer, which luckily – we actually made 7 of them, or that what was it? A 9-point deficit could have probably been a 15-point or more.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
who knows if we'd have fought back?
It was 12 points at one point, so it very well could have been 15. They lost the first half 44-35, and then I believe that Barnes and staff kind of gave them a good. Coaching motivation in the halftime, and came out and they won the second half 47-19. So that's
I mean, they dominated that second half for sure.
That's shutting down, and they took 6 less 3-pointers in the second half and went to the line 12 more times.
Oh yeah. So that was the key thing. I thought was the way that Bowden got aggressive.
Well,
he was driving, and that's what, in my opinion, that's what Bowden is going to have to do in order for this basketball team to be able to score. Yes, I mean he got hot behind the arc as well, but he's quick and he's got the ability to drive against these guys, and he's going to have to do that to be able to create some foul shots.
Now, one thing that I like is when Josiah James kind of settles in and gets used to college basketball, kind of gets his feet under him coming back from injury, he should run the point.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll free up Turner and Bowden to play the wings and hopefully, come off some curls and screens for some of those catch and shoot looks, especially Turner. That's kind of one of his specialties, man. Love him coming off of a screen and just catching and releasing. But Bowden was actually kind of in the same boat Fulkerson was last night. Picked up some quick fouls, and he set quite a bit in the first half as well. So that maybe was a factor in why he really didn't get going until the second half.
Yeah, I think Fulke ended up with what was it 9 points, and he was close to double. I mean, but he only played 17 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you hit on earlier, he's got to stay out of foul trouble because behind him it's really kind of unknown, and really not just behind him, kind of across the board. This team, there's no reliable offensive threat. There are guys that could go out and drop 10, 12, 16, 20 points, but I don't know that they can do it consistently night in and night out.
Yeah. Yeah. And, that's where Pons, I mean, I know it's it's only two games, but you have to be extremely, encouraged and impressed with what he's been able to do. Not only, at the three, shooting the threes, but, also playing down low. So, because if he could step up and become a 12-point, 7 or 8 rebound guy a night, I mean, the expectations for this basketball team would go way up. Certainly,
absolutely.
I think Jordan Bowden. I think Jordan has the ability to where he could score average 18 a night. I certainly think that he can do that, and like you said, if James starts running the point more, and that frees up Turner to be more of the shooting guard, you would expect his scoring to go up as well. I know Turner didn't score much last night. I don't even know if he even actually had a basket. I know he scored some points at the free throw line, but what do you have? 14 assists though.
14 assists,
0 turnovers.
0 turnovers.
Yeah,
which that was Barnes's big criticism after the game against UNC Asheville. I think between Bowden and Turner, they had 12 or so turnovers. I think the team had 17 against UNC Asheville. They dropped it to 9 against Murray State. So they've got to, like I said, this whole team is finding their identity, and it's going to be kind of a work in process. I really look at this year as a transition year. Although going through, I kind of went through the schedule and I've got them being fairly successful with this schedule. I think they'll play well in Knoxville at the Tommy Bowl. I think this team may struggle a little bit on the road. And then, like I hit on earlier, we've got a non-conference schedule that will test us early, and I think it will help prepare us for that grind to the SEC regular season and then into the SEC tournament. And I do still think this team, I absolutely believe that they can make the NCAA tournament.
Well, and why don't we just move into that? What do we think? Expectation wise, what are we thinking here? With the players that we did lose. Here's my thoughts on it, and Dobber, you can expand on it, or say give your expectations, or whatever with that. But I think that if what I would expect this basketball team to do is, I think that a successful year with this basketball team is to show continued growth, game after game. Yes, there is going to be some lumps. I fully expect nights that this team could struggle to probably maybe even score 50 to 60 points, because I think that we are going to rely a lot on the outside shot. We all know that it's not every night that those shots are falling, and we don't have a Grant Williams that we can go to down low that's going to give us 18 or 20 a night. We just don't have that. So, I think that we are going to have to depend on the perimeter play. And, that's where Bowden and Turner are going to be so important. And hopefully James will continue to, improve there on his game and, maybe start adding in, 10 points a night or something like that. But looking at this schedule, looking at this non-conference schedule that's coming up, I'm very interested to see how this basketball team performs Saturday against Washington up there in Toronto, I believe it is. And speaking of that game, I found it was interesting that it doesn't even look like that game is even going to be on TV. I saw that it was on like SEC Plus or what, or the ESPN Plus. So I don't even know if we're going to be able to watch it without having the that ESPN Plus or whatever. Yeah. Which really surprised me, because Washington's ranked 20th, I think. But I don't know much about them other than they have a lot of length, and that really is intriguing to me to see how this basketball team is going to fare against them. And then supposedly they've got two freshmen that are supposedly are going to be drafted, or expected to be one and done players. So
Right.
really going to be tested early based on, what kind of talent level that they've got. So I'm certainly interested in that. And then we have a couple more games. And then I think right after Thanksgiving, we play Florida State, who just beat Florida this past weekend. Florida was ranked in the top 25 at the time, and then we got to play Wisconsin. We got Memphis. I would love to had tickets to that game in Knoxville. I think that's going to be an electric atmosphere down there after all that crap that Penny Hardaway tried to claim last year. I think that's going to be just a crazy game. Of course, a lot of that depending on what that big 7-footer for Memphis and the NCAA decides to do there. I did notice that they got beat last night. I think Oregon beat them. But, in my opinion, what I would like to see this basketball team do is probably win, anywhere from 20 to 22 games. Probably is going to put you fourth, fifth in the overall in the conference, and then go to the SEC tournament. And then at that point in time, it's all about matchups, who can stay healthy, who, with that, and just let chips fall. But ultimately, make the NCAA tournament, win your first game, probably realistically, unless, unless Pons just turns out to be a 16 or 17 point player a night, and James comes on, I think realistically that Tennessee could probably hope for the best, probably maybe a 6 or 7 seed probably.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Hopefully that'd be the best. Win that first game in March Madness, and then just go from there. At that point in time, just take it one game at a time. But again, with Rick Barnes been on the sidelines and the way that he's been able to develop talent, I mean, who knows? Who knows what this team is really capable of? And I think that's going to be the exciting part that us Tennessee fans have to look forward to this year. Knowing last year the expectations were there. We were preseason ranked top 5. We stayed in the top 5 pretty much all season long. Was number 1 for over a month. And stuff like that. But this year it's going to be more, watching these kids grow.
Yeah, I've definitely I've got this as a transition year. It could turn out to be a good year, but I like you going through the schedule. I picked 21-10. and that's going 10-3 in the non-conference, 11-7 in the SEC. And basically, that was not playing well on the road. Like I said, I really feel that they're going to play well in Knoxville. I've got us dropping non-conference games to Florida State, Cincinnati, and Kansas. Kansas and Cincinnati are going to be tough games, both on the road. But I look for this team, like I talked earlier about the role players from last year. We're going to see all of those guys, Pons, Fulkerson. Jalen Johnson is another one. Played sparingly last year, but I think he's going to be relied on quite a bit this year. I think he was a little bit in the doghouse last year because of his effort on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that Barnes, if you don't play hard on defense, you're not going to see the court.
Nope.
And that's the thing that I think will benefit this team is it is full of scrappy guys who know if I'm going to play, I'm going to have to play hard on defense. And that will be what keeps them in some games that they might not necessarily should on paper be in. But it's going to be the shots falling ultimately and picking up easy baskets and hitting open shots. That's what this team has to have happen for things to go well. Just back to talking about Pons. Combined the first two games, he's 14 of 18 shooting, 4 or 5 from 3-point, 11 rebounds and 7 blocked shots. He has been playing at such a high level. Granted, you're talking UNC and Murray State's not a slouch.
No,
they put out who was it, Marquette last year in the tournament.
Yeah. Which they had what
Morant,
which went overall number 2 in the draft.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, they made the NCAA tournament 17 times in school history, and back-to-back conference champions. So yeah, I mean, that's a program that, even though certainly that they lost some talent off of last year's team, I think that you could definitely say that was a quality win for this basketball team, especially being how really young that this team is, and the players that they were or who actually that we are depending on.
Yeah.
For them to come out in the second game, get down at 9 at halftime, get totally outplayed in the first half, and then, come back in that second half and just totally dismantle them. I think you have to certainly be encouraged by that.
Yeah, that's perfect leading into what I was going to go to. I said I expect this to be a transition year, but coincidentally, perfect night to start our Talkin VAWLS basketball show, with it being the first day of early signing period, the first early signing period, and Barnes coming through again.
What a haul.
And locking down 3 of the top 36 players in the country. 5-star Jaden Springer, 5-star Keon Johnson, and 4-star Corey Walker. So, man, we were talking on the broadcast last night of the game, they were talking about Josiah James, being the first 5-star since Tobias Harris, I believe.
Yeah, he was
McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, McDonald's All-American.
I mean, look at that, pulling 2 5-stars in one signing period, and he may not be done. There's a couple more that have some official visits scheduled, and there is actually potential that we could slide up from. I've seen us as high as 2 and 3 in overall recruiting for this upcoming class. There's potential that we could slide into the number 1 signing class for next season.
Yeah, but just just to think that Tennessee is, in the top four, top three as far as basketball recruiting go is just hard to believe,
Yeah.
because even like you mentioned at the start, first couple of years Barnes recruiting, everybody was like, well, this guy's just just riding off into the sunset, and he started winning some basketball games there, and what I guess it was 2017, when Tennessee was picked to finish 13th, and ended up winning the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, but Barnes recruits a certain player,
Yeah.
a certain type of a player. He's not into these players that are all about themselves and these flashy, players and stuff like that. He's going to get somebody that's going to be a hard worker, that's going to commit to playing defense, somebody that is willing to take to the coaching. He's not interested in signing some prima donna that's going to have to be babied and all that stuff. Because if you're not willing to be coached up, and if you're not willing to be critiqued and criticized, then you're not going to play for Barnes,
Yeah.
because he is extremely tough on those kids,
Well, and
I love that.
you could see that in the team last year. On paper, they really shouldn't have been as good as they were. You did have Grant Williams, the two-time conference player of the year, but really, and especially if you go back and look at recruiting rankings and all that, none of these guys were highly recruited, but he develops them, and he gets so much out of the players that it's through that development and coaching of fundamentals, and then them buying into the system and playing as a team, because ultimately that's what the success was from last year, was them playing together as a team. You could expect Williams to drop in his normal 18 points, but then you could have two or three other guys and it rotate around, drop in another 18 to 20 points.
Oh yeah, it happened several times last year.
Yeah, it was a special team last year, and it was disappointing to see the run end when it did, because man, they could have played with the teams that went on.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I was heartbroken after that Purdue game.
Yeah,
I was heartbroken after that. I wanted them to win so bad, because I just loved watching those kids play. Schofield, the energy that he would bring, and then Grant was just total class, and just a tremendous basketball player that you could tell that put in the time and the work to improve his craft. And I hope both of them, and of course Bone too. I hope all three of them have excellent careers in the NBA.
yep,
for sure.
definitely.
But Barnes is just I mean, he's proven time and time again that he can develop the talent. So it certainly looks like that the pieces are going to be in place over the next couple of years for this team to really make some noise.
Yeah. Well, and that's the
who
thing.
would have thought that that Barnes would be recruiting potential one and done players? I mean,
Yeah.
which I'm not crazy about that anyway. I mean, that's what I loved about Schofield, seeing him develop from his freshman year all the way up, to his senior year. And, same thing with Bone, which I know that he left early, and, Grant still had a year, but, I'm just not crazy about the one and done deal.
Yeah.
I just never did really like that, because I think that's always one thing that's been neat about college athletics, has been able to see these kids come in as, 18-year-old freshmen, and, grow up, and develop into the players that they are. So, but that's the way it is. When they're throwing out these millions and millions of dollars of contracts to go play basketball, who can really blame them? Nobody can.
Yeah. Looks like we still got 30 hanging out with us in the live chat. While you're
Appreciate
there,
everybody hanging out.
Yeah, we appreciate you. If you can X out of the live chat and hit that thumbs up, or as Boogie would say, give it a smash. It helps us to spread the show via the analytics of YouTube and get it out to other Vols fans. Share out the links when you see them on Twitter and Facebook. Like I said, this is going to be a weekly show after football season. We'll let you know the day of the week and the time. Probably going to stick with the 7 o'clock. We just don't know what night of the week it's going to fit in. We'd like to stay away from the nights that the team was playing. That way we can try to get in the couple of games and talk about those. But yeah, we appreciate everybody coming, hanging out tonight. And I've not got anything else.
You don't have anything else? Well, I'm going to say right now that y'all know that the holidays are around the corner. Christmas is on its way. If y'all are looking for any kind of holiday gifts, we got the official Talkin VAWLS merchandise. It's down there in the links in the description. Several people have tweeted back to us or contacted us about the quality of the shirts. They've been awesome. I think all of us have, at least a couple of each. We got the
looking
hoodie.
forward to these hoodies, man.
Yeah. The hoodies.
I know we're getting into the chilly weather now here in East Tennessee. So
I've been freezing the last couple of days. So yeah, those hoodies will come in. To come into use for sure. But yeah, anybody interested in some merchandise, check that out. Got to give a shout out to Wayne Shelton. He had told us in the pregame show before the Kentucky, if the Tennessee won, that he would buy me a sweatshirt. I told him he didn't have to do it. He was absolutely yes. He's going to. He sent me a message today that he's got it ordered. So appreciate you, Wayne. I will certainly wear it with pride for sure. Appreciate it. So it looks like we got Troy Lee Nugent. What's up, Troy?
What's going on?
But yeah, we got more in here now than we ever did, and we're about ready to wrap this thing up. We've already went 45, almost 45 minutes. Again, just to reiterate what Dobber's saying there, we appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate you all for tuning in, listening to us. Again, we're not experts. I'm by no means a basketball expert. Heck, when I was growing up, my dad coached, and I was so bad that I didn't even get to play. And I was the coach's son. That tells you right there how bad I was. But always love watching the Vols, no matter what it is. And there was even some folks on there talking about the Lady Vols, and of course big
win.
Yes,
big win for them over Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people that kind of make fun of the Lady Vols, but if they're winning and they're competitive, I'm gonna watch them and stuff. So and support them for sure. So with that, I think what's UT Tanner's asking us for quick football thoughts. What do you think, Dobber? What do you think? We got 2 more games.
Yeah, man. I said if we went into Lexington and came back with a W, we were going to win out. So I really look for this team to use this bye week to kind of get healthy. And man, I think especially the way that the schedule stacks up. Missouri's coming off of Georgia last week and Florida this week. And Kelly Bryant didn't play against Georgia, hamstring injury, I believe. So we'll see. We'll see about that.
They're saying that he's supposed to play this week, is what they're saying.
Right. I like the chances for this team, especially the way that we've been trending. The way this team has played, the momentum that they've had. I think they carry it through, and I think they win out. Get back to the way Tennessee football should be. Going undefeated in November. That's what I remember, as a kid. Those games were never in doubt. You get to November and around Thanksgiving, that's when Tennessee football kind of, wraps everything up and gets ready for their bowl game. That's the way
Yeah.
it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing this week, certainly with the bye week, is just get some of these kids healthy. I mean, I think Pruitt said it today on the teleconference. I didn't get to really get to see much of it, but I saw a thread there about it and a couple of comments he had, and that's what he was saying. It's a really beat up football team, but he was also very complimentary of the players and the coaches for really digging in, because I mean, just about everybody was had written this team off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I'll admit it, I mean, heck, I mean, there was serious doubt in my mind that we'd win three football games.
Yeah, well, I mean, after the first couple, it was it was kind of hard to believe that you'd see this team, what 5-5 now.
Yeah. Well, I would have bet a lot of money that there's no way this football team would have been 5-5. I'd have bet a lot of money on that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy what they've been able to do, and you certainly got to tip their cap to them and and stuff. But I mean, next week sets up perfect. I mean,
yeah,
that Missouri game, you could not set it up any better. With Tennessee coming off a bye, and then Missouri having to play Georgia and now Florida and back-to-back weeks. That they're going to be beat up. Who knows how healthy that Kelly Bryant will be. So I certainly think that is definitely, even though that it's on the road, and I know that we've struggled with Missouri over the years, since they joined the SEC. But I fully expect the Big Orange to go to Missouri and come away with a win. At this point, I'll be disappointed if we're not 7-5 and playing a bowl game in Florida. I'll just put it out there right now. I will be disappointed if we're not 7-5 and playing some slow Big Ten team that will beat by 18 points or more. And because I mean, I'd give anything to play Iowa again. I tell you who I'd like to get a hold of is Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
I would like to show them what real football is. That's what I'd like to do. I get tired of them people talking about how that they deserve to be in the playoff or whatever. Yes, if they finish undefeated and they beat Ohio State, more power to them. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Ohio State will absolutely drub them. Absolutely, yeah. But they won't even get to it, because I saw today that Minnesota still has to play Wisconsin and who is it? Somebody else that they play this weekend. Somebody ranked as well. Iowa. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they don't lose both of those football games. So anyway, that's a weekly JP rant.
Yeah, it's funny. You were talking about Lady Vols and people kind of dogging them. Before we came on to the live show, I had the volleyball team on, watching them play Arkansas. And I mean, I'm just a Vols fan. I'm an alum. If something's on and they're wearing orange and a power tee, I'm probably going to watch it.
So. Oh yeah. Hey, true story. And I know that we got finished up. Wow, Dobber, we've almost went 50 minutes and we said we'd be 30 minutes back. But true story. And I will this will prove a lot of my fandom, how I am. The year after Kiffin left and went to USC, Tennessee was playing in a national championship thing in tennis against USC, and I actually sat down and watched that tennis match, I guess is what you call it, and was actually rooting and I have no idea what Tennessee. I mean, I couldn't tell you how to keep score. I couldn't tell you any of the rules or anything, but I could tell, obviously when the player for Tennessee scored a point or whatever, or whatever it was, or they won a set. ultimately we ended up losing to USC. But I was so bitter at Kiffin that I sat down and watched a darn Tennessee tennis match.
Yep. Well, that's what college sports does for you, man.
yeah, I know it. So anyway, Boogie's mad because we talking about football. Oh well, he'll have to get over it, Boogie. Get over it. But anyway, anything else, Dobber, that you want to say? Anything? We're gonna wrap it up.
I think I'm done. I just appreciate everybody joining tonight. Before you leave, hit that like button.
Hit that like button, and just remember, I don't want to keep on sounding like that I'm trying to peddle these things, but if you got any merchandise, I think what Boogie say, we had 7 more days, I think, on the
7 days on the first order for the sweatshirts and hats or hoodies, hoodies and hats. So yeah,
hoodies and hats, but
we will be back next Wednesday. With the football, the Wednesday, I guess, pre-show for the Missouri game. So if you're a regular listener who was coming in tonight looking for the football show and got a little taste of basketball, and this is, like I said, going to be a regular weekly thing after we finish up football. We may we'll see what's going on maybe between the last game and the bowl game, because basketball will be cranked up and going. We may hit it then during some of the off time, but we'll let you know. That's all I've got, JP. If you want to,
you going to take us out? You going to take us out, Dobber?
Yeah, I can. We appreciate everybody listening, and I guess I'll quote our good buddy Boogie. Just got one thing left to say, and that's go Big Orange.
Go Vols.